Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show / podcast / rehash with Jared Weiss. I had thought this was going to be the last game of the season, Jared. It was kind of nerve-wracking. I didn't expect to go through such a dramatic tug of war with the psyche. How are you doing?
I am absolutely elated right now. Probably mostly because my birthday is Thursday, so I get the greatest gift in the world, the NBA Finals.
Okay.
So I'm very excited for that. But also these games have been great, but this was like the ultimate. This was the back and forth battle, the ultimate closeout. So I love how it's just getting better and better and better as we go deeper into the series.
Okay, yeah, because it was a weird game. It opened up with the Warriors on fire and with a certain someone who is 7 feet who could shoot threes playing for them. So,
Looney?
Oh yes, him too. So what did you make of that? Because all of a sudden Kevin Durant is nailing threes. He looks pretty good on defense. We saw a little bit of an inability to move completely as quickly laterally as he had in the past, but still pretty darn good. Warriors, different team. Who knew?
Yeah. It's funny how I didn't check. I wasn't on Twitter during the game, but I'm really feeling for all the people that tried to get there. I can't believe Kevin Durant was just goading us this whole time, and I can't believe he didn't show up for that previous game. All those takes, and then he probably tore his Achilles there. Like, I really hope that's not the case, obviously. But I mean, things are not looking good for him right now. I mean, the fact that he got out there and gave him anything is remarkable.
Yeah, and by the way, that is one of the fears. I teach split and go on the catch, and this is actually off the dribble where he lifted both feet and split and then landed. And you put a lot of pressure on that back foot. The wider you get, the more pressure is there, and he got pretty darn wide. And so that's always a fear when you're trying to coach that, to make sure that you don't get beyond a certain level where you can put, a ridiculous amount of strain. So, he grabbed the lower part of his leg near the Achilles, just like he did the first time. So, there's no way he could have done what he did if he had torn his Achilles the first time, right? There's just no way he's coming out and moving like that.
No.
Now, somebody had shown me an NFL player who tore his Achilles with the same kind of. I tweeted out the slow-mo of the ripple that you see his calf move through as it explodes or whatever that happens underneath his skin. And they also showed me an elite sprinter training and a beautiful slow-mo. I mean, it's gory, but whatever, of the same looking thing, and she completely snapped her Achilles. So I'm confused because. Then we see him walking with a boot, and we saw him moving. We saw him move to the locker room, and it wasn't completely immobile. So I gotta kind of have to say that it's still a calf thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. He's not
playing.
The likelihood of him playing is extremely small. And Looney, it doesn't sound very good for him playing Game 6. Warriors are going to have to do this with their core 6 there that they've got left. It's pretty apparent.
And the problem they have is with Iguodala. He's the guy that gets in. Whenever he went this, I might do a video on this where we can study where he starts in the offense, and it kind of like guarantees he's going to be the guy that is open when they get the penetration and kick. Although the other reason why he's open is because his man is just crashing down the lane and leaving him open on purpose. But one time I remember he got the shot instead of, I want to say it was KD earlier on. They were kind of standing together. And I feel like they just needed to switch positions, and it would have been KD open there, and his man would have had to help a little bit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, this is a serious issue for the Warriors, in that obviously now with who they have left, they really rely on Iguodala. He only played 30 minutes tonight. They need him to play 37 to 39, I guess, in Game 6. But he's not willing to attack the rim. And we saw a couple plays in the fourth quarter where he got the ball and had a completely open lane that he would just be able to get basically a one-on-one situation in the paint. And he wasn't really looking for it. He was looking to dribble in across the lane and then pass it out. And the fact that he's so, conceptually removed from the idea of trying to score is definitely a major issue for them, because it just makes them a lot easier to defend. And you have Draymond right now, who, I mean, he did hit a huge 3 in crunch time, but he's also kind of stuck in that same vein. And it's so strange to see, two guys who were just unstoppable monsters in the finals just a couple of years ago. Now we're like, they look scared to do anything with the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to do. I'm going to have to study the film too to see if I can figure it out because we know that they have action that can mitigate the issues with their shooting. They can, they can do dribble handoffs and fake the handoffs and get in or whatever. Now Iggy, he had a couple pull-ups in the lane that are just ugly. His shot is broke. And I get it. And so that's the thing we never kind of factor when we're talking about shooting and analytics and everything is the mental aspect of it. So, but we got to talk a little bit about the Nick Nurse timeout with 3 minutes left because I got in 2 texts and now there's Sweetest Will is talking about it in the Periscope chat. I've imagined there's another one probably in the YouTube too. So the situation was, if we make sure I get it absolutely right, Raptors were up by 6. They were? And he called a timeout with 3:15 left, and the Warriors down to 1 timeout. Is that right? They're up by 6. I don't remember them getting up that much.
I thought that was what it was.
Okay, so I'll check the play-by-play in a minute. So now here's the thing. I get it. Like they're on the verge here. Let's settle everybody down. Let's get everybody on the same page and whatever. But I suppose the argument is that it definitely will. Interrupt the momentum, and it gives the Warriors a chance with an extra timeout to kind of get everything settled. Now, it looks like we lost Jared for a second there. He's on hotel Wi-Fi, so I guess it's going to be me for a minute, but I'm sure he'll be back. So let's keep this going, and I'll turn to more of your guys' questions because I want to get them anyway. So, Jared, come back to us, and we'll continue this conversation. But let's see here. Over in the YouTube, what do we have here? Ingrid Santos thinks it was heartbreaking. Well, it wasn't. It was heartbreaking, especially because if the Raptors are going to win the title, it would be nice to do it in Toronto. I remember when I was a Bulls fan back in the day, going to all the Bulls games in the '80s and the '90s. I remember they won. They won all of them on the road, except they won the Phoenix one and they won. Maybe the Portland was the one that they won at home in Game 6, but the other ones were weird when they were on the road. So it's nice when they're home. Let's see here. Refs tried, but they couldn't get it done. Do we all feel like the refs were that bad? I mean, I know I complained about some calls on Twitter, and it didn't feel like it rose to the level of Game 3. But let me know what you guys think about that. I might have to scroll down to the bottom here and see what we have in real time. And by the way, here's the thing. Let's see, Coach Nick, why did the refs not call any fouls on Kawhi during the first quarter? Nothing in my mind's eye is coming at me just yet, but maybe we'll go through the tape, we'll see it. But the other thing, and by the way, we have some super chats. Thank you guys so much for super chats. I love them. I'm going to shout you guys out right now. Xavier Smith, who's a friend of the breakdown, was this game decided by a bad goaltending call? Now, remember, it got so close. It turned out that the ball was on its way down, and we got to get Ronnie in here to make sure that when a short shot like that is on its way to the backboard, if that still comes into play or not. There's a lot of weird rules about the goaltending. Ronnie broke one down for me the last time in our last thing with him, where if the ball was still on the rim, kind of touching the rim, you could touch it. Now I'm already forgetting, but it was really kind of shocking to me, and there's probably some other rules in there. So we got to find out about the upward and then downward motion of the ball before it hits the backboard. Let's see. Jedi Jazza, thank you so much for your super chat. Can't see Golden State winning Game 6 with limited resources. I agree. I'm feeling that with let's see. Jared is okay. We're doing that same thing with Jared. I'm gonna have to give him a new. Let's try that again. Jared, let's try that again. If you're listening, I'm going to tell him right now. Try again. If not, here he comes. All right, so I figured that out. Here comes Jared.
I'm back, baby.
Wow. Okay, thank goodness. So what we were talking about was the Warriors winning Game 6 with limited resources and how Jedi Jazza in the super chat doesn't feel like he could do it. And we got one more super chat I want to get to before we get too late. The Pioneer. Assuming KD and Looney for good, what chance do the W's have? So KD is gone, Looney is gone, right? I don't think he can go again. They've got 6 or 7 players tops. What's going to happen here?
It doesn't seem to change too much of the equation, considering that tonight, KD's big shooting was great early on, but he didn't make a huge impact on the game. And then Looney was kind of struggling, I think, for a good amount of the game, and it was Boogie who was the impactful guy underneath. So, and frankly, who knows? This game would have been maybe an even easier win if that putback dunk by Boogie counted. Obviously, the issue is that Boogie's lateral quickness on the perimeter is not good right now. We saw that where Lowry got by him for the 2-and-1 at the end there. So that's still an issue, and I bet that's going to be a big part of the game plan for Toronto is trying to run some high pick and roll where you can get Lowry and Van Fleet just attacking downhill and getting past Boogie. And that just makes drive and kick so much easier if they rotate over, or you get to the lane straight up. So I think we're just going to see tons and tons and tons of high pick and roll, as we've been seeing mostly earlier in the series. We didn't see nearly as much tonight out of Toronto as we have for the last couple games.
I agree. You know, Boogie was killing them in the pick and roll defense. He was so ineffective. It was mind-boggling, but he was able to balance it out a little bit with his scoring. He ended up having 14 points, 6 of 8 shooting, and with a good 3. So he was good, but like bad. And it was kind of like, if I were a Warriors fan, I would have been gone through the ringer on this one, because you're like, yay, and then you're, So he really needs to get a little bit better on the defensive end. He can't let Lowry just sort of stop and then turn and then shoot a little shot from 4 feet a couple times. He did that. We have another question here.
Can I just quickly note something? Yes. What you just described about DeMarcus Cousins, you just described DeMarcus Cousins. That's always been his game. This isn't that different. I'll give him credit. He's actually trying way harder now, and he's actually playing like the player that we've always dreamt of him becoming. And hopefully he'll get healthy next season and take this mentality and actually put it together, and he'll be a top 10 player in the NBA maybe if he does that.
For sure. And by the way, yes, and I definitely we've shouted it out before. The effort is there, and that's good to see. He's closing out kind of hard, and he's really kind of moving around, so that's good to see. So yeah, if he can kind of get back into better shape again and train and not be 75% whatever he is, he'll be better. Here's interesting: we have 2 of the almost exact same questions in both the YouTube and the Periscope chat. So let's see, Gabriel Sturdy and Afro Nomo. Both basically say the same thing. Can you talk about Boogie, Iggy, Cook rotation cycling towards the end? It's got to be the same guy, because it's the same exact question. Now, they missed it on one. Okay, so here's one interesting question. There was a goaltending call, and they were able to sub in after that, which I don't believe is legal, but it was a review. Maybe, can you know if the rule is you can sub after a review?
Well, no.
Right. So I think they were able to sub in on that one. Now, there's another one where they didn't put Cook in on offense when they could have, as far as I remember. That was a legal timeout. They could have done it. They didn't do it. And the other thing that was interesting was, for a second there, I kind of almost wanted to freak out, because Draymond runs the baseline. No. Draymond runs the baseline when they're full court pressing and it turned out, I think it was the goaltend, and then it was a time, like the review. And for a second there, I was like, wait, you can't run the baseline there either, but I think they just counted as a regular basket was made, and then you can move it. So there's a couple things in there that were making me freaking out, but I think that was not an issue either.
Quick thing, it's the Livingston substitution, according to the play-by-play, came when DeMarcus had the moving pick. So it was an offensive foul, which allows you to make the substitution.
Okay, right. Okay. So either way, that's smart to do. And I just think he missed one of them. I'm pretty sure he had a timeout, a legal substitution there to get Cook back in on offense, and that's what he's going to have to do. I mean, if it gets close again down the stretch, I don't see how you. I mean, if you can, I don't see how you can keep Boogie in there. I mean, Iggy in there. It's just a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just have to, because his defensive prowess and switchability. Yeah. And I mean, at least I feel like with Cook isn't going to comfortably get into the lane if he doesn't get his shot. And so you're kind of more at risk that he could get trapped in the corner or something like that. Iggy, I at least have confidence that he's not going to get trapped in the corner and that he's not going to turn the ball over necessarily. He will make the play. And I guess I'd rather have a guy who's at least going to run in there, go across the lane, and then skip it out to somebody else, even if he's not going to do anything.
I don't think that would happen to Cook so much. I trust him enough to kind of he's been good and aggressive and
it's been solid. Yeah.
So yeah. Now we have another question. Thoughts on the last possession by Mr. Tosinski. Now we've seen this throughout the entire series. When they isolate Kawhi Leonard up top, they're going to run another guy at him just for anywhere, which is risky, but they've been doing it all series long. They do it again, and what normally they've been getting some sort of a short roll pass to the free throw line area, which is the whole big problem. This time they only got it to the wing, and then it got to Lowry. I want to credit Draymond. I tweeted this out. Draymond didn't get stuck underneath Marc Gasol, which would normally happen. He was smart enough to be on the other side of him, so once it went to the corner, he was all over it, and they harassed him into that miss, pretty much, although I think Lowry had to rush it. So that was my take on how the last possession played out.
Yeah, and I mean, by the way, Lowry rushed the shot. He didn't get blocked, right? Because
No,
it
I don't think so.
literally hit the back of the
Yeah.
backboard. I was kind of
Yeah.
shocked by that one. I guess Drake closing in really affected him. But I didn't really have too much of an issue with that final possession. I mean, they tried a couple different times to attack down the lane. I think I was surprised that Kawhi just didn't try to muscle through even more. It's kind of what he's been doing. He tends to muscle through until he gets to that free throw line extended and then pull up from there. But hey, Clay did a great job, and Clay's probably the best in the game at defending that kind of possession.
Yeah. Now, when you left the chat, we were talking about the timeout that Nick Nurse called with 3 minutes to go, and they're up by 6. And I guess what everyone's going to be mad about that is it kind of ruined their momentum. What's your thought on that?
I was surprised by that one. I thought he was doing that so that he could make a sub, just because I assumed that he wanted to, I don't know, switch like Ibaka for Gasol real quick or something like that.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to remember correctly, I think Ibaka was off the floor because I think Gasol had been out there for like 2 minutes of hard running, and I figured maybe they just want to give him a breather or something like that. But yeah, then it gave Golden State a chance to get Cook in there for Iguodala, and then I think that was the one where Kawhi missed the 11-footer, and then Clay got that 3 to make it a 3-point game after that. And that was like that perfect possession that Golden State, where they had, oh no, actually, I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
Clay hits a 25.
That was
yeah.
Where they snapped the ball all the way around the horn, and Draymond had that perfect like quick pass to get it to Clay. And Clay just up faked the defender out of the way and buried the shot. I mean, that was like quintessential Warriors. That was where they won the game right there. Was really having that momentum swing for them. So
fair enough. There was no sub, by the way, after that timeout.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the play-by-play showing Cook.
So I'm sorry, Cook entered, but nobody for the Raptors. So Nick Nurse didn't do that to get one of his guys in. He did it and allow the Warriors to have a good a better offensive player in. That Klay Thompson 3, because we saw earlier where he like half faked the shot and then tried to throw it up, and he got nailed, and they didn't call it. So you know what? I mean, okay, I'm now starting to remember some of the really bad calls. But that's the kind of shot. It's got to be a shot fake, sidestep, shoot the 3. And because he never would have made that one that he got fouled on anyway. So that was good to see Clay make that adjustment and he just cold buried it. I can't believe it. I was convinced, that 6-point lead, that was it. They were going to win, and it was going to be a celebration in Toronto like we'd never seen before. So, the Klay Thompson cuts it to 3, but then we can't, can't ignore Curry's. Curry hit the tie. What happened? Curry hit the tiebreaker. Yeah. Wait, remind me what that one was like.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember that one now.
Was that the one where he came off on the left side and going to his right? And okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was the onion shot. Yeah, because that was like they ran a great play, and they've been running Curry down a quick, get rid of the ball and then curling back around a pin down. This was on the left side of the floor, so it's a little bit harder because you're now going to your right and having to rotate in the air. I don't know. The net barely moved. I mean, that was just like, I guess that's why you have Steph Curry on your team. Did I just blow your way?
Yeah, and by the way, you actually, let's see. I'm just getting some updates here. Nick Nurse just said that he heard something on the court that Kevin Durant tore something. Bob Myers is about to address the media. So
okay, well, keep your eye on the Twitter. We'll break the news here.
Could be the Achilles moment.
Or the calf, but I just don't know. We saw him do it in the locker room. I just didn't seem like it was Achilles, and I don't think you'd have a boot on and walk like that. You know what I mean? If you tore the Achilles, he'd be on like, well, he was on crutches, but I feel like he'd be on in a wheelchair. So I don't know. I'm confused.
So Durant just posted this Instagram. Cover your ears, children. Dub Nation going to be loud as fuck for Game 6. I'm hurting deep in the soul right now. I can't lie, but seeing my brothers get this win was like taking a shot of tequila. I got new life, LOL. #Dubs.
Okay, wow.
Did not say #Knicks at the end there. Important to note.
Okay, good, yeah. All right, and then didn't say #I'm in. But, okay, the Pioneers, another super chat. Thank you so much. Friend of the Breakdown, who's been with us for a long time. Is it me or does Kawhi never get traveling calls? So we'll go back to the Durant thing, because keep your eye on the news. Here's what I think. Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the NBA. I think what he did down the stretch. Now, the problem is they didn't pull it out. But he made the right play, and he's been passing out that double team every time. I don't know what he could have really done when you got Iguodala rushing at him with, I think it was Draymond on him at the time, I think. So, or maybe it was Clay. But what he did down the stretch was amazing. And I think part of the reason why I want to argue that he's the best player in the NBA is because he gets away with so many damn travel calls. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, did you think the little pirouette that he did in the open court was a travel? The one where Steve Kerr almost got thrown out of the game for it?
You know what? I didn't even pay attention to what Kerr did. I need to go frame by frame, but yes, it looked like ridiculous. And that was the Danny Green 3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
right?
I think they get a 3 out of that from Danny Green. He kicks it back out. But no, there's another drive on the right side when he went to the basket and did a right, left, right, dragging or something garbage. And I think he makes that shot, or I think that should have been travel. So and there's probably a couple other ones. But that's the point. He gets away with those. That's why he is the best player in the league. Those are the calls the best players in the league they get away with. So by the way, another quick
all the big stars to have that exact same advantage. It's not a unique thing that he does. James Harden has his BS. LeBron does that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron travels constantly and they don't call it. Russell
Right.
Westbrook, same thing. Giannis. I think Giannis and Kawhi are probably the most similar in that they can take these huge long strides and the foot is just going to shift because of how long of a stride they're taking.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it's when they get away with kind of abusing the pivot rules and the Euro step rule, I think is when I think it should be called a little bit stronger. But he's playing on the same playing field that all the other superstars.
Yeah, but he doesn't do. He is different. I think he abuses the pivot foot like you're talking about. That's what's different about Kawhi.
I mean, he also just pivots way more than anyone else. He's the only guy besides, I guess Giannis does it a lot too, but Kawhi will drive hard, stop it, then pivot multiple times.
Yeah. He had another one I need to go over with Ronnie too. If we can get him on. There's a one instance when you do a jump stop where you cannot pivot afterwards. And I'm pretty sure he did. And I've seen Kobe get called for it every once in a while. And it's a subtle thing that we did actually in the video last summer. The 4 calls you always get wrong. And this one was dribble, in the air, land, right? So dribble, gather, hop, jump stop, and then you cannot pivot. If you go dribble, jump stop, gather, then you can pivot. You can follow that sequence. And I think he might have gathered it and then landed or gathered, jump stop, and then pivoted. We got to give a shout out to Gigolo Puff, who's out there moderating the chat again, always. We have Vuno, Vuno Vdu, all the way from England, it appears, with a super chat. Thank you. Bell was terrible. He's not ready for this. Ideas? Question mark. Well, here's the thing. Bell played, I want to say 4 minutes. Am I right on that one? He played 4 minutes. Where are you? Yes. And, he made a bucket. He had a really bad defensive play, and they yanked him right away. And that was the one that one thing that's going to kill him. He didn't move in the direction of the ball as the ball was being driven to the baseline and let his man cut in, I think, behind him for a layup or something like that. And he knew it. Kerr knew it. Kerr called a timeout right away and got him out of there. So that was probably one of the timeouts they could have used later in the game, but they didn't need it. It ended up being okay. So your thoughts on Bell?
I think he just used Bogut for 4 minutes in Game 6. It's whatever. I think it's inconsequential.
I agree. But I do feel like there was at least one good
question. I'm using a high-tech methodology here.
Yeah.
I just want to show everybody this. This is Draymond Green blocking the final shot of the game.
Okay. Oh, we're going to go full screen for you on that one. Blocking. Yeah, he did get a hand on it.
He did get a hand on it. Yeah.
So
incredible play.
More reason for me to, want to give him credit for, getting on the right side of Gasol. Because, once you get to a certain point where the shot clock or the game clock, they don't have time to get it to Gasol. So you can kind of cheat on the outside of him, knowing it's going to go to the corner instead. So really, Draymond kind of really frustrated me. The technical foul he got, he wasn't playing well. And he
poor defense in crunch time too. He screwed up on several rotations, let the drive get by him, trying to rotate over from the weak side. I mean, he screwed up multiple times there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that he was a frustrating player to deal with all series long or all game long. So let's go to Periscope. We have a lot of people on Periscope tonight, and we have some really good questions this time, which was where have you guys been? Let's see here. Although I can get some other ones. Quinn Cook should get more minutes. I agree. He got, I want to say 12. Let me flip over there again. Quinn Cook got 12 minutes, 3 points.
I think he's going to get 25 minutes in Game 6. I think he's established that he's way more valuable offensively than Livingston. Livingston can sometimes be valuable defensively, but is giving them nothing on offense.
Yeah.
And then with Durant clearly out. By the way, Steve Kerr said there was a tragic loss tonight. So I think it's pretty apparent that Durant tore something. So no Durant, probably no Looney. So they're really only going to be down to like 1.5 rotation bigs. Going to see a lot more quit.
Yeah, and Bell is going to have to give them another 4 minutes, I think. I mean, we'll see. Maybe Bogut can do that too. But yeah, I think Livingston only played 16, so it's not like they can cut his minutes to 12 maybe, and then flip it and give Cook the I don't know if he can get to 25. He'll probably get to 20, I imagine. And they're going to need those, and he's good. They're going to need to do what he did, which is just another threat out there, even off the dribble a little bit. Last possession, Danny Green was wide open from Leo Balayan. Gosh. I mean, he probably was on the other side. It would have been really tough because once the ball got to the left wing, the clock was really short, right? I don't think they were going to be able to have time to get it back over there.
Yeah, I mean, Fred made his drive and then just kicked it to the near corner. Yeah. That's all you can get at that point. They were running out of time.
So Ibra94 wants me to bring in Ronnie for at least, we have 2 days before the next game. I can do a court call with him. Does everybody agree? They think were there enough calls we have to go through? Because listen, the other ones have been really popular, so I'll love to do it if you guys want to.
It's Ronnie. Yeah, do it. I want to watch it. Do it for me. I want to see it. It's right. Ronnie Nunn. It's for God's sakes. There's no reason not to do it. There's always going to be something to go.
Well, maybe Ronnie's watching, and we'll get him in here. Honestly, I'll get the bat phone out.
We could do a 20-minute video just on like that one big Kawhi pirouette move. That right there alone is worth the video.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I'll outsource get the list for everybody, everything they want to see. I just got a good one from Brandon Witten. Says, talk about the Toronto fans cheering when Durant was injured. Now, are we sure they weren't cheering like when he got up, which is what we see a lot of home fans do to the visiting player?
I've seen a couple different explanations, but it seemed like the understanding from the Raptors' perspective was that they thought the fans were cheering because either one, they didn't realize how serious it was and they thought he was just kind of like down and a little hobbled, or they were cheering for him getting up. And apparently the Raptors players like Kyle Lowry were trying to say like, this is a big deal, everybody stop. Mm-hmm. And so instantly people responded to that. So I'm not gonna put this on the Raptors fans as some sort of like dirty thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know the announcers instantly went to that, and I don't know. You know how that goes. A lot of times when an opponent player goes down, and then as soon as even if it's really serious, and they put him in the cart and they start driving away, they'll cheer. So I just kind of felt like that's what it was related to. So we as far as we know. These are not like other fans in other stadiums, who we're talking about. These are the Raptors who tend to be pretty classy, as far as I could tell, right?
Oh, we're going to think of non-classy fans in the NBA. If only I covered a team that had some.
Oh, I'm not even talking about that either. Is it that? It can't be as bad as where I'm thinking, but we won't go there. I'm kind of curious. I kind of need to do a break. I could do you know what? I should do a whole video just breaking down the last 3 minutes.
For sure. Bob Myers is talking right now, so I'm going to listen to that while you talk.
Okay, sounds good. H. Yazdi wants to know if Lowry choked. I don't think he choked, but I kind of want to go back down the last several possessions to see sort of what happened, because a 6-point lead with 3 minutes to go at home, for the game, that should be your game, at this level. So I'm kind of almost want to look at it really quickly to remind myself what the play-by-play was. So Clay drills a 3 after Kawhi misses an 11-footer, but that was heavily contested as far as I remember, the Kawhi shot. And then Kyle Lowry had a backcourt turnover. Why am I blanking on that one? You know what? And then Steph comes down and ties it, and then Clay hits one to go up by 3. Now, but Kyle Lowry makes that layup to cut it to 2, and that was big. So I think Kyle Lowry played pretty well. But Kawhi Leonard rose up in the fourth, is Rohi 0109 says, and for sure. I mean, that's why I said I tweeted it out. I thought they were going to win. No problem. He had how many points did he have? 10, 12 points in the fourth quarter. And they were those are superstar points. And plus what he does on the other side, I think he's the best player in the NBA. Why call timeout after Kawhi scores 10 straight? Yeah, that's a great question. We kind of went over it. But yeah, I guess there's a momentum thing you don't want to interrupt. It also let the Warriors get somebody in there to sub. Let's see here. Snipe 30, what about Kawhi elbowing, traveling every time he goes in the paint? Well, we discussed that a little bit earlier. He gets away with that. He's a superstar. Oh, we have some more super chats. Guys, thank you so much. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm late. Mr. Trey 23, thank you. We have, what do you think of the Draymond over and back? What over and back? Oh, crap. Somebody tell me which one he's talking about. Because I'm thinking about the one where He got it was Looney called on a Kawhi drive. That was not that one. Draymond over and back. Tell me what it is in the comments or something, and I'll scroll down. Alexander Varga, reality of the Warriors winning next 2 games. Praise KD. It's not really that realistic, I don't think. I think this, it didn't feel like the Warriors I know they had a lead and they were up even like 14. It didn't really feel solid at all for me for the Warriors. So I don't feel good about it. I don't think they're going to win this thing, especially without KD and without Looney. I think it's going to be a celebration in Toronto, either in 6 or 7. Gordon saying Durant has Achilles injury. Okay, thank you for that super chat from Canada. And we're waiting. I think Jared's going to give us the full breakdown in the second after he hears from Bob Myers.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, and I could have almost piped that in if I had my TV still on, but I can't. Steph Thompson, excuse me. Thank you so much. Klay Thompson considered a top 5 after this. Top 5 in the league. Jeez, I don't know. He is still like the shooter guy. Doesn't dribble and get to the basket real well. Doesn't really pass. That's not his thing. So he's not really well-rounded enough for me to be top 5. Ciova, another super chat. Thank you. Cousins had a fourth quarter meltdown and Warriors won. I don't know. I thought Cousins was okay. His defense was terrible, and then he had that tip that didn't count. And I guess we shouldn't have thought that counted. But yes, Blue Diamond Gem. Again, thank you so much for Super Chat. Is Golden State Warriors management responsible for making KD play? I would have to say no. I would be.
That's where I'm jumping in.
All right. Well, okay. Well, I'm just going to say no. I don't think he's responsible. I think KD was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And they were like, okay, sign this waiver. No, anyway. Jared, update us. What did Bob Myers, the GM, say?
That was one of the most remarkable press conferences I've ever seen in my life.
What?
Bob Myers was just crying on the podium. I'm kind of shook right now. I need to compose myself. That was crazy. He basically revealed that it looks like it's an Achilles tear. He said it's an Achilles injury, and they're going to get an MRI tomorrow. Didn't use the word tear, but obviously considering all the evidence we have at this point, that's what they're suspecting. Myers was extremely shaken, trying not to cry. It seemed like he was crying. He was really, really shaking. Gave a really vociferous defense of Kevin Durant as a person. He said that anyone who thought that Kevin Durant wasn't doing his all to give his all to the team were completely wrong. He said that Durant is the most misunderstood person, and he's an incredible person, and it was really devastating to watch. It was a beautiful defense by Bob Myers, and considering all the speculation that Durant's going to leave Bob Myers' team against Bob Myers' wishes, and to see Myers just clearly caring so much for him, it just shows it reminds you the real relationships that these people have, and how the media pressure and the narratives can put so much pressure and heat on what is truly a close friendship and important relationship, and it's a pretty remarkable. But so it sounds like KD could have an Achilles tear, and that's obviously, and it's not really clear, but it kind of seems like what he's saying is that he maybe didn't have an Achilles tear and did tear his Achilles during this game. And you think about the consequences and the sacrifice that Kevin Durant just made.
Yeah.
We know how serious that Achilles tear is. Just look at his teammate. For that to happen to him when he's about to sign a massive max contract, whether it was going to be a 1-to-1 or this probably changes Durant's free agency plans. Maybe he wanted to stick with a 1-to-1. Maybe now he's telling teams I want a 4-year or 5-year deal with the Warriors because he wants security.
I don't think anyone's going to offer him a 4-year deal now.
Is he 30 or 31 now? I forget. He should be 31 by now, right?
Yeah. And by the way, this doesn't have to be an end of the career thing anyway. At this point, we've seen people can come back, but it's going to take a year. It's going to be rough, and that's why what. Yeah. Now, but that's the other problem is he probably hasn't come back next year.
We don't know, but
you know what I mean.
Based on Boogie's timeline last year, and Boogie, let's be clear, Boogie was in much worse shape and it was much heavier than KD. KD is very light for his size, so that does make a huge difference.
But Boogie didn't he do it in February of whatever, and he came back like January, like the next year?
Yeah, exactly. So
11 months, and
maybe it's better.
So no, he's not coming back for the first game ever to play next year in the third round of the playoffs, right, or whatever that's going to be. So
and hopefully it's not a tear. Hopefully, it's some sort of severe strain. There's different degrees of the stuff, so hopefully it's not as serious. But
Right.
it
Well,
sounds like KD made the ultimate sacrifice just to try to be there, and
yeah.
that story is going to be a remarkable story in NBA history.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I
For,
mean,
for a guy who is chasing the GOAT status, by the way, I mean he's not at the front of the conversation, but he's on that path of chasing it,
yeah.
and and this could completely derail it. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, let's get to some more questions here. Let's see. Somebody wanted to talk about Nick Nurse's coaching and how terrible it was. Did you feel like besides the timeout, nothing really struck me as being like, wait, what are you doing out there?
This is ridiculous. Nick Nurse was the greatest coach in the world
Yeah, right.
as of 3 days ago. I mean, come on,
But
what he's pulled off is incredible. They didn't play as well. Actually, I don't think the Raptors didn't play as well. I think that Golden State's defensive transition defense was just way better than it has been. Although it was really bad in the late fourth quarter when Kerr lost his mind when I think it was they let Norman Powell through completely untouched on a kickback or to the trail.
Oh wait, wasn't that the Kawhi pirouette?
Yeah.
That was the Kawhi.
Was
so
it?
yeah. I think he almost travels and they kind of give up and no one was back to stop him and he dunks it from a step inside the free throw line. Yeah, that's what it was. That was not good. So
yeah, they're still off, and Dre is off. He's not making his reads. He's not playing defense nearly as well as he was like a series ago. I mean,
wait, who are we talking about?
I mean, Draymond was like still the best defender in the world through this playoff run, and I was doing. I mean, weren't we having the greatest defender of all time conversation about him? It's been so strange in the last few games. I think he's just been really all over the place. And of course, he did have the game-winning block tonight, but like he also had probably 4 really bad defensive possessions in the last like 7 or 8 possessions of this game.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure he missed the rotation on that one. And then just the communication isn't there.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because it's not like it's completely different personnel. I mean, Boogie is a late insertion, and Boogie's missing a lot of these rotations, a lot of these help assignments, but like it generally is the same personnel they've been rocking with all year. So I don't understand why they're missing so much.
Right. Maybe you can get hot on defense too, and you get cold on defense. I don't know.
You definitely can.
Mr. Trey 23. Okay, I'm sorry. When I read, what do you think of the Draymond over and back? I was thinking of over the back, like a loose ball foul. But you meant when he stepped behind into the backcourt. So
they call it correct.
Well, his foot was on the line, so he had to call that.
There wasn't any contact with Danny Green.
Yeah, someone wants to argue that he was pushed, but I don't think he was pushed. I think it's bad footwork. You have to have a better footwork and better balance when you get that close. But it was really just that was when you think they're going to absolutely lose, because it's like that's a terrible high school play, right? You cannot step in the backcourt, at that crucial juncture when you're that close. And also you saw they took way too long to bring the ball up. And then they got really close to the 16-second, the 8-second call, which is the reason why that got screwy too. But I want to give as much credit as I can to Marc Gasol, because he jumped Curry in the backcourt really athletically, like really quick. It caught him off guard, and that's what started the whole chain of events that ultimately led to them stepping back court. So Marc Gasol, doesn't get the credit because he's far enough away from that play, but he's the one I think that actually caused the panic and got it going. So I want to make sure he gets enough credit for that.
So I think after another classic game for Marc Gasol now, how far do you think Toronto would have got if they never made that trade for Gasol this year?
Oh, I mean, it's funny because there have been moments where like, Gasol, why is he there? But without question, he ignited the offense. I mean, we know down the stretch or the last one, since he got to the Raptors, they were the number 1 offense, I believe, right? Number 2 at least. And they were probably pretty good before that anyway. But like he unlocked some things. And then defensively too, he's been huge. So without question, what he does. And it's funny because we still complain about some of his game and he could do better, this and that, whatever. But you know what? The guy's a winner. The guy does plays that help you win. Now, what's interesting was I took a note of this. At some point, let me get it up my notes out here. Here it is. Okay, with 8 minutes left in the fourth, it was the most crazy balanced scoring you can imagine. Listen to this. Gasol 17, Siakam 12, Kawhi 14, Lowry 16, Ibaka 15, and Van Vliet 11. Now, I think, and ultimately what it turned into was Siakam 12, Leonard 26, Gasol 17, Lowry 18, and then Ibaka and Van Vliet didn't change either. I wonder how many times we've had finals games where we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people in double figures. I don't think there's that many. Can we find that out?
I'll try to.
Can we crowdsource that? Can someone tell me? Because that's incredible balance. And then you look at the Warriors, and they had they had 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. They had 5 guys in double figures. So they got, because the Boogie contributed so well. And if Iguodala could actually shoot some open shots, he would have been in double figures. So who knows? But it definitely was crazy balance. And that's sort of the key here, what they do. We have some more super chats. Thank you. I mean, listen, guys, I can't get over this. I go into my house. My wife is sitting in there, and I'm like, I just can't believe that we're like people are giving us super chats. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Jedi Jazza. I'm assuming it's Jedi Jazza. Got a feel for Steph too. So much crap to deal with. Yes. Steph has to deal with crap, but you know what? He's got a pretty nice life too, so I don't know. Then we had another one from somebody, and it retracted, so I don't know what that means. Joey Z, thank you so much for the super chat. And then Xavier Smith, another friend of the breakdown. Wow, very generous. What's more important for the Raps, keeping Golden State under 110 or getting their offense going? Also, do you think the Raps were giving up easier threes tonight? Let's unpack that. What do you think about the first question, which is keeping them under 110 or getting or outscoring them?
I'd say it's the former. I think they want to keep Golden State low because the Raptors scoring, I think, is kind of comfortably settled in that sub 110 range. So
okay, so
you
want
to keep Golden State down. You just want to keep their offensive pace down. Most importantly.
Sure. And I did a breakdown that also was very popular, showing what they were doing on defense to hold them to their lowest offense, to hold the Warriors to their lowest offensive rating. So go watch it if you didn't see it yet. And what they're doing. I mean, it wasn't the biggest craziness. It was simply leave Draymond wide open, leave Livingston open, leave Iguodala open, and then Boogie was shooting 30% from the field, and he's taking shots. What's his part of the shot? 5 feet? Oh, he's taking some 3. He took a 3, but for the most part, he's barely taking anything from outside the lane. So that's really helpful. Now, you see what happens when Boogie actually gets back to somewhat normal. I want to say, was he 6 for 8 tonight? Let's see here. Cousins 6 for 8.
6 for 8, yeah.
You know what I mean? And listen, how every single bucket he got was crucial to them winning the game, and that's what happens when they get a little bit closer to normal. So even though Iguodala still stunk up the joint, and so did Livingston, and then Draymond hit 2 threes. And that was important because he simply didn't really play well, but it was enough and certainly better than what he was. He was 2 for 4 from the 3-point line, where he was something like 23% from beyond the arc in the rest of the finals. So all he needs is a little bit more from those guys, and they can win the series, believe it or not. I don't even know, without Looney now, without KD. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. But another super chat, another very generous Varun Rizbud. Thank you. What do you think of Myers being emotional in the press conference? Did the offseason just change with the KD Achilles injury? I mean, you just already expressed yourself. I guess you might have missed it. Jerry,
I guess he just got here. Yeah, that was like 5 minutes ago. We can go through it again. There's a bunch of people talking about this.
If you want to go through it again, can you condense it to a couple sentences? Go. Go, Jerry.
Okay. Myers being emotional was, I think, a remarkable reflection of the relationship he has with Kevin Durant, respect for his players, the media driving the narrative of KD's already leaving to the Knicks, that KD doesn't want to sell out for the team, all that kind of stuff. Like, KD made the ultimate sacrifice for the team. It was so apparent that his priority is basketball, his priority is the team that he's on right now, and all that kind of stuff, and that he's not looking ahead to the future yet. They said it's an Achilles injury. Nick Nurse said that he heard someone say on the court that he tore something. It sounds like it's pointing pretty clearly at this point towards an Achilles tear. The Warriors think he has an Achilles tear. They have to wait until they get the MRI results tomorrow to know for sure. This is devastating because why don't you get into how you think it affects the offseason?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, look, if you can use Boogie as an indication, like all of a sudden, no one's going to want to sign into a long-term contract because you don't know how he's going to respond. You're not going to have him for a year. You're not going to have him for next year. He's done. And that's okay because he needs to rehab, and then he's going to be 32. So it's a real thing. Like, he might not ever get the max. It might keep him in Golden State, though. Maybe he just stays there for a one-on-one. Gosh, they would probably again. Who would do it? Who's going to do it? Because here's the problem: it's the timing of it, right? If you do this in December, January, okay, you come back and you have a half of the season because you don't have a whole. You're not going to have a whole season. That's just going to be a risk. I don't know. Do you think, Jared, that anyone's going to take a risk of offering him a 1 or 2 year deal, knowing he won't play for a whole year?
Well, the big question is whether he just decides to opt in at this point. I mean, his option is that he could just opt in if there's no market for him, and which is crazy because that changes everything for free agency. I mean, all of free agency right now is completely predicated on waiting to find out where Kevin Durant is going. I've talked to like 3 major free agents that have all told me that they're waiting to see. They need to wait to see what happens to KD before they know where their money's going to be coming from.
You know what? The Knicks would do it. The Knicks would probably. Wouldn't they think they're crazy? They just do a home run shot and say, "We'll give you a 4-year deal, and we'll trust you'll be back."
Usually, yes, but there's so many other great free agents at this point that it doesn't make sense for them to take that kind of flyer, even though they've been dying to get KD. And I mean, it's not even like just KD, but to get like this, like the top class free agent. But there's so many other good guys that they can target. Hell, they can make a really hard run at Kawhi, which will, Kawhi will probably go, but still, it's at least worth a shot before you go to KD.
That was an interesting interpretation of his. Right, I think that was that closer. Anyway,
I try to undersell it, just make it a little bit more natural.
Kong Fam asks, another super chat again. Thank you. What was up with the Raptors timeout with 3 minutes remaining? Okay, so we have people coming in and out of the chat. It was in the middle of a run. You don't want to ever take away the momentum of your team. It was very strange. As a coach who never liked to call timeouts, I was sort of the Phil Jackson school of thought where, let them figure it out. But again, there was nothing to figure out. They were up by 6 on a run. It was crazy. I'm anxious to hear what Nick Nurse will say because it guaranteed someone's going to ask him about it. And I'm sure I'll shove it in the video too to let him give his answer. And then I might have to tear it down a little bit. I don't think they're going to lose the series. I think the Raptors are going to win this, but if they don't, that timeout is going to live in infamy, won't you say?
Probably, yeah. The great timeout that changed the course of history.
Yeah, crazy, So let's see here. Any other questions? Can you see here? Can you grab from the chat as we're going through?
Let's see. Max Parlow just dropped $2 without asking a question.
Oh wow! Thank you, Max.
Thank you. But guys, if you're going to give us a super chat, put a question in there so we can at least give you your money's worth.
Yeah, or just yell at us and say that Jared is better looking than me.
Most of them are yelling that I need to shut up and let you talk. So I'm trying to do that more. Right. Here's an interesting one from Andrew Clothier. I like Clothier better. Coach Nick, love to hear your thoughts on, and just one thought, not thoughts, on Curry not really being able to carry the team without Durant when he has done in the past. What has changed?
Well, he carried the team the other day in Game 4, right? Like 45 points, and he, didn't win. But maybe he means carry and then to the win as well. Curry looks lethargic to me. He doesn't look like the same guy. Now, I know we're at the end of the season, and every once in a while he has his spurts, right? But he doesn't look like the same guy. And I know he's 30, 31, and it's 10 years. It's a lot of, and he's getting beaten. So that might be what it is. We never get to see Curry. We never get to see the November Curry in June, right? It just seems like he's worn down by then. That's too bad, and that's everyone. So that's my thought on that, I guess. So I don't know if anything has really changed. I just feel like he just gets beaten on, and he's probably banged up. He had the sick game at some point, and that's just how he is. I think we're gonna have to accept that's how it is. And but you know what? He's still the single most gravitational. What's the word I'm looking for? Gravitationalist
force.
He has the single most profound gravitational force in the league, bar none, and that won't change for a while. So I think. Here we go. Max Parlow is back to us. Call timeout and drop a play for Kawhi at the end. Okay, here's a good question for that. So here's what Nick Nurse should have known. He should have known that if they put Kawhi out on an island out top, they're going to run another defender at him. Now, in theory, he could be like, fine, we'll try and generate a shot like we've been doing, and that'll be live with that. But why not run a handoff to him where you can't just double him that quickly? Do a pin down into a handoff into a ball screen. Do some sort of action. They were doing that really well earlier. And that would get him, at least give him a chance to do something. They had plenty of time to set that up and do it. So that is a failing too that you like to see, Kawhi create the last shot, right?
Yeah, and I don't remember if they have a timeout left for during the final possession,
Oh boy.
because I usually like to see them try to call that. Just have the coach run out and call that in the middle of the play if it looks like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? It's worth looking into. I think that they might have had a timeout. I mean, I know at one point they had 2 timeouts left, and the Warriors only had 1, and that was late. So I bet you they still had a timeout. And I get it. Like, let him go before the defense can set up, yada yada. But I don't think you can do that in that situation. Not for the game. Not for the title. For the title, you call timeout if you have it, and you set it up, and don't risk whatever. Now somebody else asked it somewhere in here. What do we think about Siakam not being in? And it was probably somebody else too, I'm thinking. But Siakam at least was not in the last play. Did you recognize that? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And Ibaka wasn't in either, but I don't think he would have been in anyway. I think they would have had. Oh, here it is. Nate No Snap asked that.
Okay. Yeah, that was definitely a little bit. I mean, this wasn't exactly Siakam's night, right? But he, I mean, they put Kawhi in for him at the 9-minute mark, right?
Okay.
And then I don't think he got back on the floor after that, which is definitely surprising. And I don't have the lineups in front of me, but Norm Powell played like a pretty big chunk of the fourth quarter there. It seemed like all of his minutes pretty much were in the fourth quarter, and he played really well. And they were running well with him out there. And I think that was probably a big part of why Nurse probably called that timeout, was just, at the 3-minute mark, was just that they had been running so much. He probably just wanted to give them a breather, even if they were on that run. He didn't want them to lose steam, and all of a sudden Golden State just like claps back with a couple threes. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened, because he called, even in spite of him calling the timeout.
Yeah.
So
it's so funny because as a coach, you're so tempted to do something. And I remember when I used to coach, when I was an assistant, and my mentor would be like, and I'd be like, maybe we should. And he goes, no, we're on a run. Don't do anything, and it's so tempting to do that. And sometimes you get hurt with that. Real quick question notice about the one why Lynn isn't in, or Jody Meeks. It's like, you can't expect them. It's just, you're going to set them up for failure. They don't play. They haven't played at all. You're going to throw them out there in Game 6 of the NBA Finals or Game 5. It's just not. It's a recipe for disaster. And they don't need it. They had the game. They had the game. And I got to go through, because I know there's some subtle stuff in there in the last 3 minutes that we're going to notice that really cost them the game. And I'm like kind of blanking right now about what was going on, because I almost have to go by the play-by-play. We'll see. Well, I mean, certainly what we know is a shot fake sidestep 3 dagger, and then another Curry quick release off a pin down. I mean, those are just, what are you going to do? I mean, it would have been nice for the guys guarding the screener to like step up, but then that causes a problem because they can hit the pocket pass. But it's probably preferable to letting them get that chance to do it. Because, by the way, Curry, I mean, let's see, how did they shoot? First of all, they shot amazing, right? They were 20 for 42 from 3-point land, and they won by 1. So the Raptors should feel really good about that, because the Raptors were 8 for 32, 25%. So they got outscored by 12 threes, okay? And they lost by 1. Let that sink in for a minute. 36 points they were outscored by the 3-point line. That ain't going to happen. I mean, they're going to lose every game like that, but not by 1. Like that, normally you get blown out and it's not even close. So that should be another good indication that the Raptors should be doing now well. Now, is there anything in the box score that you see, Jared, that would indicate to you why it ended up being close?
Well, I mean, exactly what you're saying. The true shooting percentage on 3-pointers between the Warriors and Toronto was almost double.
Okay.
I mean, it was insane. It was just that, yeah, they were just getting so much more out of it.
So is there a number you can point to on the box score that can say, oh, well, this is why they end up making it close? Turnovers? No.
Main reason is that the Raptors got to the rim almost twice as much. They had 33 shots and fouls drawn at the rim, just to 19 by Golden State. And I'm seeing, just looking at the shot maps, I'm seeing, I think, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 fouls drawn in the paint by Toronto compared to just 2 for Golden State in this game.
And you can see in the free throws, so 27 free throws to 14 for the Warriors. They didn't shoot great from the line. I mean, they made 21 of them, but they outscored the Warriors from the line by 11. So that's one other reason that helped them. And then when you get double digits there, that kind of helps as well. So that's an indication there that they can keep close. But on the flip side, by the way, the Raptors certainly cannot afford to get outscored by that much in the 3-point line ever again the rest of the season. Like, if they do that, they're going to lose every one of these games. So I think it's a mix. I don't think the Warriors are going to shoot 47% again, or 48% from 3, especially because Durant comes out and nails 3 of them, right?
Yeah,
He
that
went
was
3 for
that was
3.
kind of shocking early on. But
Yeah.
to Toronto's credit, they kept hitting back early on, and there was no big lead for Golden State to capitalize on.
Right.
That's the reason why Toronto was in this game.
Right, absolutely. We got another couple of super chats. Thank you, guys. Javi Baez El Mago. Nice. That's a lot of references we got there. It's good stuff there. What are the chances KD opts in now? Well, he must have just missed it a few minutes ago. Jared, you're on top of that. Well, I don't know. You didn't really put it in what chance that is. Is it 50%? Is it 75%? What do you think?
If he has a torn Achilles, I would give him a 75% chance of opting in. If it means he's going to miss the entire season, I don't think he's going to get the contract. I think it makes more sense for him to come back and demonstrate that he's good to go and then get himself a big
But how
deal.
does he demonstrate it if he doesn't play all next year?
Well, I mean, he can at least do his rehab process and maybe get back at some point during the season, or at least have something that he can work off of. But right now, it's a complete unknown. While I think he can at least have a rehab process that demonstrates that there's something there. So, at 75 is too strong. I'll go with 50. It just
I think you're right. I think he would do. I think that's what they're going to have to do because again, we'll see. Unless someone's going to knock him out and offer him a max, deal, then he'd have to sign that, right?
Or they could offer him length. Maybe he does. I mean, I can't imagine he doesn't get a max. Well, even I would guess that a 31 or 32-year-old Kevin Durant recovering from an Achilles tear is still probably worth the max.
Well, what about this? Do the Warriors offer it to him? As a thank you, as a whatever. I don't know. That's interesting. Hey, maybe is Bob Myers crying partly because he knows he needs to offer him a max now? I don't know. Andrew Zhao. What did we decide that was going to be, Jared? Zhao or Zhu? Zhou. Maybe Andrew, you can tell us.
It's Joe, right?
Oh, Joe or Joe. Andrew, tell us what it is in the regular part of the chat. I'm watching for it. Is Toronto better now than versus Milwaukee and Philadelphia? I think they're playing their best ball for sure. Now we're getting Chow, but that's not from Andrew. Andrew, are you still there? You just were here. Let's see here. They're playing their best ball without question. I feel like they're kind of they're firing on all their cylinders now than they were. I'm trying to think of. It seems like 6 months ago when they played Philly.
Okay, he says it is Joe. I was right.
Gosh, good for you.
Someone else is saying Chow, but they're spelling it the same way. The whole point is you need to spell it a different way for us to understand how it's supposed to be pronounced. Thank you, Andrew Joe, for letting us know.
Yeah, so thank you. Gigolo Pup is on all these spammy things, so that's awesome for him. Thank you. Well, listen, Jared, I think we're getting to the end of this thing.
Yeah, Toronto playing their best ball in the finals. I mean, it's been an all-time memorable run just to see a team continuously getting better and better and better as the season goes on all the way to the end. Yeah, it's really been spectacular.
Shout out to made me laugh. Tyreek Sharp said Nick Nurse blew a 6-point lead. That's good. So anyhow, well, listen, I'm so excited that we get to be back together again for at least one more game as a post-game show, right, Jared?
That's right. It'll be on my birthday, actually. So it'll be a great way to cap off my birthday.
All right, great. Well, then I got to get to work here. I got 2 days to do at least 2 videos, and thank you so much. I don't know if you've noticed, Jared, but people have been flocking to the channel never before. I've never had this much traffic going on ever in any of my years. So thank you guys.
We got the best post game show in the business.
That must be driving more people. I don't know what else to explain it. So, Osmar Zuniga, another super chat. Thank you very much at the end there. Not a comment, but just a little hat tip for us. So thank you. And guys, I guess Jared, thank you for staying up late with us. Everyone else, thank you for staying up late. Hell, maybe early in Hawaii if that's where you are. But either way, awesome stuff. I don't know what else to say. Is there anything else we want to grab from as we sign off here, Jared?
Prediction for the rest of the series.
We got to do that, don't we? What's your prediction? You go first.
Raps in 6.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for the Warriors. Yeah. But they're gonna be in Oakland. Right? That means something. Oh, and did Jared freeze on me? No, he's back. I don't know. I'm going to say Raptors in 7. How about that?
All right. I like it.
Well, let's do it. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. Thank you, Jared. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Jared?
I'm in birthday mode, baby.